Hello, everyone. You are listening to Your Palm Beach Guide with Kiana Rivera. I am the Vice President of Membership at the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. And today we are joined by Michael Koppy, the Executive Vice President and Partner at Financial Recovery Strategies. So a little bit about him, you know the deal. He has held senior positions within well-established financial consulting and recovery organizations, leading large teams of professionals and working directly with FRS's Fortune 500 clients. Over the past 15 years at FRS and over 20 years in the industry, Michael combined his in-depth understanding of his clients' businesses with a keen focus on class action eligibility requirements to assure that they participate in all settlements for which they were eligible, and to enhance their recoveries to over $100 million. As a result, many clients have recovered millions of dollars they have overlooked without Michael's expertise. Outside of the class action recovery space, Michael has worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs across North America in providing essential business development consulting, sales and growth strategies, and he is also a philanthropist, as demonstrated with his eco-friendly company, GoGreenDryCleaners.com. He is also on the executive board of directors for Tafer Hospitality and Resort Com International, RCI, a trustee of the Palm Beach Island Chamber of Commerce, and an honorary member-elect of the Palm Beach League of Cities. Holy cow, Michael, that's a big bio. Thank you for being here today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Well, I am so excited because when you first joined the chamber, you came with this ball of energy to our team. And I was like, what in the world? I've never experienced something like that. So first, we're going to start from the beginning. One, how long have you been in industry? Tell me a little bit about your company and a couple of your companies and really just how you got started in this business.
Sure. Well, again, thank you for having me here. I really do appreciate it. Since the day we met, also the same sentiment is when I met you and Doug and your team, I knew that I was in the right place. I was a little nervous. It's the first Chamber of Commerce that I had joined. Right. I was encouraged to do so by multiple friends and business associates in Palm Beach. And they were all 100% accurate that's where I needed to be.
Right.
So thank you so much. We'll start from the top down. Mm-hmm. So FRS, Financial Recovery Strategies, that's what pays for the party, right? So we probably have the largest footprint in North America, possibly the world, in the class action claims filing and management space. Mm-hmm. Our firm represents everything from a dairy farm to about maybe 20% of the Fortune companies and helping them file their claims in various class action settlements across the board. I think we also work with approximately maybe 500 or 600 nonprofits, some of them being local, national, global. Like one example would be Habitat for Humanity.
Right, and they're members of ours as well.
They're members, yep. Mm-hmm. And so on a global level with the parent Habitat all the way down through like Habitat Greater Palm Beach, which I'll get to later on because we've strategically partnered with them. Not only are they a client of FRS and their class action claims filing needs, so we work directly with the CFO and the CEO on these projects, but also Go Green has strategically partnered like in donating clothes, doing food drives, doing things, volunteer work, a lot of really neat things that nobody really sees, but that's not why we do it. To be recognized for it. Yeah. So it's been really cool because that's a relationship. It's a direct result of the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. I don't think that I ever would have met the executive team at Habitat Greater Palm Beach if it wasn't for the Chamber. I just don't think we would have crossed paths. Oh, that's awesome. Knowing it. Yeah. Well, so that was pretty cool.
And I think too that a lot of people come in joining the chamber a little bit nervous, like you were talking about, because sometimes it can be really overwhelming. And then you kind of it does feel like speed dating a little bit where you're passing out business cards and networking or whatever, but sometimes it just seems really transactional. And so I know at the chamber, our team has had a really big focus on making sure it doesn't feel that way. It's about creating those relationships and really focusing on the relationship building instead of just, here's my business card, and then I'm going to pitch you like a mile-long email about my business and hope that you take the bait. So I love that you made that connection through us. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's like a game of double dutch, jumping in and out of this networking sort of thing that you've created, and it's, you don't want people to think, you don't want to shove what you are offering or what you provide down their throat, but at the same time, like speed dating, you have 30 seconds to make an impact, and a business card sometimes just doesn't do enough justice. And unfortunately, we also live in a society, professional society, where you can't say, hi, my name is Michael Koppy. I am an owner of Financial Recovery Strategies. I'd like to tell you a little bit more about myself, my business, and how I might be able to help you and your business do whatever it is that we do. You don't have that opportunity. And more often than not, I've found in my experience, when you tell somebody your last name, you're telling them they just don't know you.
Right.
And unfortunately, we have been so snake bitten by like the scam calls, the spammers, the scammers out there, everybody out there pushing their, I'll say,
agenda
mission,
almost.
their agenda for the wrong reasons.
Right.
So I've been a part of the chamber, a couple of years, but only up until right before the holidays, December of 2023. Nobody knew that I owned Financial Recovery Strategies because it sounds very expensive, or like a collection agency.
It does.
And so I was so terrified to let anybody know what when everybody asks, so what do you do? I own a dry cleaners.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
When I told Doug, when I told Doug this, we were at a restaurant in December, I think it was, he said, wait a minute, what?
Yes.
What do you mean? You own another company so that's how the whole FRS Financial Recovery Strategies class action claims filing thing
came about.
Yeah. I spent the last few years on the island being Go Green Dry Cleaners. I spent and my wife runs 100% of the operations.
And she's a powerhouse. She's amazing.
Incredible.
Every time she's always working. Yes. That woman is always working.
The business doesn't exist without her.
Right.
It's as simple as that. If she needs me to drive a van, I drive a van. Sweep the shop floor, I do.
Right.
Whatever it is she asks, but literally she's at the helm. And the business is budding. It's experiencing hyper growth. It's it started up in New York, then we spread to Connecticut, introduced it down here 2 months before the COVID shutdown.
Brave.
So, and that's also a nice little segue to Go Green. Right. So Go Green, that's what everybody knew me as, because it's easy to explain to somebody at a barbecue, and they say, what do you do for a living? I own a dry cleaner, and you can point at it because we have 17 locations. You say, I own one.
17 locations just in Florida.
So no, in Florida, we just broke ground on our 8th location. We opened Wellington last month. We broke ground on Westlake this month.
Oh, good. Congrats.
And I think we are, taking a position on Avenir as we speak.
Good for you.
So our intention is, I believe we're on number 8 just for Florida. It would be to have between 12 and 15 in 1 to 3 years from now.
Okay, great. So, real quick,
just here in like the Tri-County area.
Yeah, that's huge. That's so big. So, real quick, again, you're listening to Your Palm Beach Guide, and we are with Michael Koppy. So real quick, again, let's go back and talk about how you even got started, because you have over 20 years in this industry, right? And when you got out of college, or you got out of high school, or even when you were trying to figure out what the heck am I supposed to do with this life that I've been given, where were you? And weren't you a hockey player at one point, I think? So touch on that a little bit.
Yeah. So, so I was in college. I was deciding, do I continue to pursue hockey? I had a full ride scholarship to a school that had a D1 program at the time. And I was opening my second tanning salon.
Nice.
This is in New York. Yeah. So quick little story how I even got started.
You were an entrepreneur at heart, though.
So in high school, I was working after school in between hockey practice. I was working at a tanning salon in Larchmont, New York. And I knew that the owners, they were trying to have a child, and I knew that they were going to sell the store eventually when they had the baby.
Right.
And so I had this idea. It just kind of came to me. I said, hey, I've got an idea. I'm living at home. I don't have any bills to pay, really. Why don't we agree on, I know you want to sell the store, and why don't we agree on a purchase price now? I'll work for free, you don't pay me, and whatever hours I would have logged by the time you're ready to sell, we apply that to the purchase price. And
smart.
Whatever's left over, you tell me what you want monthly to pay it off.
Okay.
So that was my first business.
Wow.
So I spent 1.5 years working for free as many hours as I could.
In between also playing hockey as well.
Playing hockey, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And, and then halfway through my freshman year, they decided they wanted to sell, and that's when I acquired my first small business.
That was your first business, a tanning salon.
Yeah. Wow. And then next year, another tanning salon in New Rochelle, where I was living, where I'm from. And then within the next 2 years, I had 3 cell phone stores, and I had a nightclub in Manhattan. Yeah, so busy.
What a life. I mean, how do you keep it all together, honestly?
Again, double Dutch, knowing when to jump in and out and not trip on the ropes.
And I think too, you have such a great mindset to understand the level of business that you have to stay at, and then while also maintaining great relationships. Because some people can get so consumed in the business side that they just like hold themselves up and I have to do this and I have to do that. And then they lose all the relationship building. So what is something that you can share just to me about how you've been able to balance it all, besides, making sure your business strategy is correct, but also, really fostering those relationships that you have, because you're well known in this community. Like, you've done your due diligence, you've met with people in lunches and coffees. I mean, you've done the dance. So
yeah, I think that being a successful nightclub promoter, I learned at a very young age, find out what people want, and if you could provide it to them, they usually want to keep you around. But then that coupled with I am an expert at getting, let's say, a crowd to a door, to walk through a door, whatever it is that I did in the nightclub industry. But then to have them coming back, it's up to everything happening inside. Because you're only as good as your last party, right? That people want to come back for. And when I say party, I mean for anything.
Right.
If you're selling sandwiches, you're only as good as your last sandwich that you made and you sold. So that's what people are going to remember. And I actually, I was with, I think it was Vin Diesel. That's how old I am. But I went back in like
during
the
the
late
Fast
90s.
and Furious era. Man,
even before that, really. But so we were having a conversation. It was at my birthday party, and it was like it was like a red carpet event and whatnot. And I was talking with Vin Diesel. I want to say like Will Smith or something like that. And they were like, "It's who you know." And one of them said, "It's not who." And I'll never forget this. I was probably 19 at the time. No, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. And that was one of the most profound moments of my entire life. So I'm like, wait a minute. And in that moment, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I know Puff Daddy. I've met him.
Right.
He wouldn't know who I am.
Right.
And like, so how can I leave an everlasting impression so people know me?
Oh,
and
that's amazing.
Not who I know, it's who knows me.
Right.
For the right reasons. As long as you're after that for the right reasons, I think that really, nobody ever taught me this, but it gets real simple and makes things so much easier. If you just be yourself, you have to be good with being yourself. You have to be comfortable.
Right.
But if you are, that hopefully is good enough. So as long as you're yourself, you're doing things for the right reasons, and you want people to remember you, you want to leave a stamp on this world and a legacy for other people to remember. Your kids, your friends, or anybody else that has a gleam in their eye and has a dream and they want to pursue it. But yeah, it's who knows you, and really just being comfortable to be yourself. And you just got to keep your fingers crossed that it's good enough.
Right.
But you're okay even with rejection or with it didn't work out. Sometimes timing isn't on your side. Things don't align. But as long as you are honest and you're yourself, at least you know. Right. And if you stick to that sort of game plan, everything else falls into place. Business, it all translates. On the ice, I know that I'm not a goalie, right? I'm a left winger.
Right.
I'm not going to pretend that I'm something different. I'm not going to pretend I'm 6'6" and 220 pounds and I'm a defenseman.
Right.
I'm 5'9" and 180 and I shoot from the left side best. And as long as you accept that and, you find your swim lanes,
right,
and you can, put things into silos, make things easier, as far as juggling all the different things, shots on goal, not to cheapen any of it, but it's, always shots on goal and keep your fingers crossed.
Right.
And then when you look back 3 years later, like, oh man, wow, look at the ground I covered.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And I love that you've been able to tie that into every season of life that you have experienced so far. So again, you are listening to Your Palm Beach Guide with the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce, and we are joined with our guest, Michael Koppy. So real quick, I want to transition back to FRS. And for those who don't know, give me the breakdown of what FRS is, how people can get involved, our partnership that we have with the Chamber. Kind of walk me through all of those steps.
Sure. So essentially, I'll give you a specific example. What's happening right now that almost every chamber member is eligible to participate in, and almost every chamber member is not aware of.
Right.
There's a 5 $1.6 billion class action settlement that has to do with Visa and MasterCard, the merchant processing fees. It's called the payment card and interchange fee class action settlement and merchant discount class action settlement. And so what we do is we help companies file that accepted credit cards from 2004 to 2019. So long as they accepted Visa and MasterCard, they're eligible to file a claim, recover their damages, right? And it's based on what they transacted. But the money's already been allocated. It's in a settlement fund. You have to file a claim. And the notice program often, it can be something in the Wall Street Journal, a national commercial, or a letter that gets sent. Right. And a claim form that gets sent to your business. And on most businesses, they don't receive them for whatever reason. They changed addresses since 2004. It's addressed to somebody who's no longer at that company, or looks like junk mail, they throw it away. And so our greatest challenge, FRS's greatest challenge, is making class members aware of their eligibility. And it's free information. We literally give free information on how to file your claim on your own, or we welcome the opportunity as an option if you need help or you just don't want to do it yourself.
Right, to walk you through it.
Yeah,
oh,
and,
good.
and everything we do is on a contingent fee basis. So we give you the information for free, why you're eligible, and then let you know that we're an option. We're here to answer questions, but here's the court-approved website. Go on it yourself. Here's the claims administrator's 1-800 number. Call them directly, or you can have us do it for you. And so again, our greatest challenge is everybody becoming aware of this thing. So that's what me and Doug have really been trying to work on through the partnership. There was a May 31st deadline to file, which just expired, obviously.
Just expired, yeah.
And for every 100 business owners, small, medium, and large, for the most part, if you ask 100 business owners, did you file? Probably 85 of them say no, for whatever reason. Well, what has recently happened that we found out about 2 weeks ago is the settlement was so undersubscribed. Not many people filed that they extended the deadline to file August 31st now.
Oh, great. Okay. So people have until August 31st to file. And how can they get a hold of you? What would be the best way to do that?
Well, so they can go to www.frsco.com. So like Frank, Robert, Sam, co.com. They can get my number directly from you guys at the chamber. They can get information. They can Google it. But because I live in this town now, and because it's not about the commission. That's great. But it's about, I want to be known as the guy that brought this public awareness to our zip codes, our area codes, and I raised overall participation. That's one of those legacy things that I talk about. That's what I would like to be known for throughout Palm Beach as the class action recovery guy. Yeah. Not so much the dry cleaner guy. It's great. It's fun, but this is real money. It's not hokey. This is a real thing. Class action settlement recovery. People just think that it might be a $12 or a 12-cent recovery because they may have received something from Verizon on their cell phone bill. Right. We only file claims for businesses. So it's the same concept, but the claim values are much greater, much higher. And the claims filing process, though, is also much more in depth, but that's on our end. So with maybe 5 minutes of somebody's time, a modicum of participation as far as getting us data. Right. Independent of that, our firm obviates probably 98% of the work burden or more for the class member. So we really do everything, and we're like an insurance policy. Through our firm, you know that you're getting the maximum you're allowed legally through the settlement fund, through us filing for you.
Well, I mean, it seems like you guys take the burden out of the whole process. So it's a no-brainer. It
is a no-brainer. And also, here's something that, because of our firm, our reputation in the industry, and we work directly with the legal systems that are involved, class counsel. If we're filing, let's say, claims for 50,000 business owners in America currently, just on the settlement, if you own a restaurant, there are certain codes that are assigned to your restaurant. If you're casualty dining, specialty dining, sit-down dining, and other. Right. We may have data. We likely have data from the other 10,000 restaurants that we're filing for, everything from TGI Fridays, Red Lobster, down to Bob's Burgers. Yeah. We have this data. So when you may not have the requisite data or the documentation to support your company's claim. And that's why a lot of people don't file as well. It's like, oh, it's 2004 to 2019. I don't have records.
Right.
In this particular settlement, you don't need that.
Right.
With things like your tax ID, all your known addresses during that time period, and any names that you would have went by, and your corporate name, of course. With those items, and almost we don't need anything else. Practically, we can go and we can submit a claim and get you the maximum. Maximum
return on it. Oh, that's incredible. Well, if you want to participate in this, please reach out to us. Michael is a longstanding member of ours, so we have the information that we can give you, or you can always just go on our website. His company is listed under the member directory. But in closing really quick, because I know we're running close to time, what would you give as advice, or not even advice, but encouragement to those entrepreneurs out there who maybe have just consistently hit this wall and they're running out of that stamina to keep going? What would be your little tidbit of wisdom that you would give?
Sure. Well, there's all the standard stuff that I think people read, like in a Entrepreneur 101 book. But I think that it starts with deciding what kind of entrepreneur you want to be, and don't look at other people and what they've achieved, and move from one thing to another. Because a lot of times we see success in other areas and say, I don't want to sell, I don't want to own a deli anymore. I want to own a shoe store, because that person's making a lot of money. Also, for me, I found that when you can attach a number to your goal, it makes the path not easier, but a little more defined, a little more organized.
Okay.
And then for example, if I want to make $100,000 a year as an entrepreneur, there's 1,000 things that I can do as an entrepreneur to make that sort of income, right? If I want to own 10 different locations of something, it starts to narrow down your path, right? 10 car dealerships is different than 10 bookstores, right? So, and just like 100 bookstores is different than 100 restaurants. So once you start attaching a number on what you really think you want to do, like me, I want 12 to 15 locations for Go Green in the Tri-County area in 3 years. Right. So that defines what I need to do to get it. These ambiguities that float around in our heads, it doesn't allow us to corral the correct path. And then we're kind of running around spinning our wheels. And we think that we're networking, we think we're doing stuff, but there's no result attached to that. So when you have purpose behind, why did you go to that networking event? Was it to go and be seen and get pictures taken and that's what you wanted out of it? Or did you want to meet 3 people that might buy a car from you next week?
Right.
So are you there for 3 people or the one person? Maybe you want to do business with the breakers.
Right.
But then whatever it is that you do, whether you're selling laundry services or napkins, well, you got to identify who is it that you really should be speaking to. Everybody might know, let's say the president, because he was a keynote speaker, Paul Leone, but that's not who you want to meet. It's the person making the decisions, or maybe it's the CFO, or maybe it's the facilities director, or whatever. Right. So knowing who you want to meet at any networking event, but make that, compartmentalize it, make that your lane, right?
Right.
And then you start to see results. And then when you do get business cards from people, the proper follow-up, do you want to make friends, or but be clear about that also. Like, hey, Kiana, we just met and I really like you. Right. I'd like to maybe go to the beach and get to know you more as a person. Or, hey, Kiana, I understand that you're the executive vice president of the Palm Beach Chamber. Right. And this is what I'm looking to get out of the chamber. Are you the right person for me to discuss that with? And if not, would you mind making an introduction? Right. And I find that that's always been more effective and makes things a little bit easier. So me personally, let's just say, for example, right? I want to make $1 million a year. I know that no matter what, there's 5 things I can do. I can either be a celebrity, an actor. I can be a professional sports athlete. Right. I can win the lottery. I can sell jets and yachts, or I could be an entrepreneur. I'm not going to be a doctor or a lawyer or a mechanic unless I'm a doctor that owns my own medical practice. Right. I'm a lawyer that owns my own firm. And I'm a mechanic that owns my own body shop. So no matter what, it all comes back to entrepreneur. Right. So for me, I knew I was going to make $1 million a year being a hockey player.
Yeah.
So I actually turned down a pro contract to pursue class actions.
Jeez.
When I discovered what class actions were,
Right.
recession proof, I can really help companies, find something that they were otherwise, it was unbeknownst to them, and help them actually recover the money. So knowing who you want when you enter into a room or enter into an engagement, knowing what you want out of it, makes things a lot easier. But also, if you just want to go have some drinks at a networking event, then go have drinks and have fun.
Right.
Don't expect any business to come out of it, because that's not what you're there for, and that's okay too.
Right.
Right. And then I think, last but not least, right, how much money you want to make and when you want to make it by, and why you want to make that amount of money. Mm-hmm. I want to pay off my parents' mortgage. I want to be able to donate a lot of money. I want to be able to travel the world and give back, or I want to be able to, whatever it is. If those are the right reasons why you want to make a lot of money, because you want to share it with the world.
Right.
So I think discovering why you want to do whatever it is that you're pursuing, honestly, the money will come, and having the correct game plan in place. But I'll kind of close with this, and this is what I say to anybody that will listen, really. Don't get discouraged by rejection, by timing not being on your side, by not having the best product at that time in the marketplace, and you lose to a competitor. Because every single engagement, just like when you're talking to people, you say, "Hey, Kiana, my name's Mike. Would you like to be friends?" No, because I have too many friends. Or no, you have blonde highlights in your hair. I don't like blonde. Whatever it is, or no, I'm too busy at work. Whatever it is, that's okay. Because I introduced myself. I said, "Hey, I put myself out there. Would you like to be friends?" You said no. That's okay. Because every engagement, it literally is practice for your next engagement.
Right.
It's as simple as that. So when somebody says no, or if you're doing phone sales, they hang up on you. They may have had a bad day. Don't take any of this stuff personal.
Right.
You can be emotional about what it is you do, but you can't be emotionally attached to the decisions that you make. So long as you're behind them, you support them, whatever the outcome is.
Yeah.
So, again, don't get emotionally attached to your decisions. And every engagement is literally practice for your next engagement. So no matter what, it's a positive.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. You need to write a book, Mike. You need to put all of that information in there. Well, I think we are good. With that, we will end. And thank you for listening to your Palm Beach Guide with Michael Koppy. And he has one more thing to say.
Just one more thing. I'd be remiss if I didn't at least, again, thank my wife.
Oh, yes, Paige.
Yeah. No, because honestly, most people in this town, they really know Go Green. And I also wanted to thank anybody who's supported me, supported us. The experience with the chamber has been absolutely amazing. I encourage everybody to follow your lead. When you say, "Hey, get the most out of it, this is how you can."
Right.
It's a real thing. And also, I do have another company. It's called the Bedford Group.
There we go.
All right. It's an insurance agency based out of Palm Beaches. It's, we cover all insurance products. And as crazy as everything is with the insurance, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that company. It's called the Bedford Group Insurance Agency. And you can go to www.bedfordinsure.com.
Perfect.
You'll see a beautiful photo of me there, I think. But you can ask questions. It's pretty user friendly, and there's no commitment, just asking questions. "Hey, this is something I'm coming across. What are my options, or do you have any feedback?"
Right.
And as simple as that. So I just want to say thank you.
No, thank you. And I think, honestly, Michael, you do it all. And I'm just so thankful I get to know you. So thank you.
I appreciate that.
Thanks for being here, everybody. Have a great day.